Hello students, welcome to EdUp YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing well and utilizing your lockdown time very well. In the last lecture, we saw the concept of energy and power and solved some problem related to it. And also we started the concept of magnetic circuit and saw some questions regarding it. If you missed that lecture, then watch that fast. The link is given in the description below so that this lecture will be very clear to understand. Now, in this lecture, what we will do is we will study the concept of flux linkage. So, what is flux linkage? We are going to study, and we will see what is self inductance, mutual inductance, and coefficient of coupling, and what is the relationship between the self inductance and mutual inductance, and how these three are related with each other. And in third, we are going to discuss some basic law in electromagnetism, that is your Faraday law, what is your Faraday law, and Lenz law and Ampere's law. So now let's start today's lecture. This is first question of today's lecture, and in this question it is saying if n phi is the flux linkage, then we have to find the flux linkage per unit current. So before answering this question, I would like to tell the concept of what is flux linkage. So let me draw a coil. Let this is a coil of n number of turn, okay, and let small I is the current flows through it. Now from the basic concept of electromagnetism, we know that when a current flows through a coil or a conductor, it produces magnetic field around it, and because of the number of turn n, there is flux linkage, that is like that. This is flux linkage, and the flux linkage is given as n phi, that is flux linkage, which can also be represented by psi. So this one is proportional to current. Why? Now because current is cause, current produces that magnetic field, that's why it is directly proportional to I. Now this n phi equal to some proportionality constant into I. This proportionality constant can be called as self inductance. And in my first lecture I told you what is self inductance. What is it? It is simply the property of a coil or conductor by which it opposes the change in current or the change in flux. Means it's just like a magnetic inertia. So from that, flux linkage per unit current we need to find equal to inductance. So your option C is your right answer. In this question, we have been given an expression E equal to minus d phi by dt, and we need to find from which law this expression has come. This is a very basic question, and some of you already know the right answer of this question. That is, the right answer is your option C, that is the Faraday's law and Lenz law. Now for your understanding, I will tell each law one by one. Now let's see what is Faraday's law. Faraday's law states that when flux links with a coil changes, it induces an EMF in it. Means, let's consider there is a coil of n number of turn, and let small I of t is the time varying current flows through it. What Faraday's law say? Faraday's law states that when there is the change in flux, let's say this is flux here, as the current is time varying, so the flux is time varying. So flux linking with the coil, it changes with respect to time. So because of Faraday law, there is an induced EMF. So induced EMF is given as small equal to N d phi by dt. Please remember one thing, that here phi must be varying, else if the flux is constant, then the differentiation with respect to time is 0, so the EMF is 0, so there is no EMF. So in order to produce EMF, we require three things. First one is your magnetic field or magnetic flux. Magnetic field or flux. And second one is your conductor or coil. And the third thing is very important, that is some arrangement that ensures that there must be an relative motion between magnetic field and conductor. So third one is relative motion. A relative motion between coil and your magnetic field. So this can be either of two types. First one is, in case of AC, the current is time varying, so we no need to make any extra arrangement, means the flux is also our time varying, so by default we get some induced EMF in it. So in that case, the induced EMF is known as statically induced EMF. And in case of DC, as the DC is constant with respect to time, so flux is also constant. So here we have to make some arrangement so that flux will vary. So in that case, we go for motion, that is space variation. So from this method, we when we produce EMF, then we call as dynamically induced EMF. And in statically induced EMF, transformer works in this principle. And in dynamically induced EMF, all moving machines basically DC machines work in that principle. So from this Faraday law, here E is the your effect, okay, E is the your effect, and phi, change in phi, is the cause. So here cause produces effect, okay. Now let's know what Lenz's law states. Lenz's law states that the effect always opposes the cause. That means in the expression E equal to minus N d phi by dt, here the minus sign comes because of Lenz's law. And I will give a funny example. In election, what happened? Actually, people voting for their desired candidate to find their representative, and once their representative elected, then he or she doesn't listen to their people. So this is very obvious and this is very natural tendency. So remember one thing, Faraday gave induced EMF equal to E equal to N d phi by dt, and Lenz modified this law by introducing a negative sign with it. So the option C here is the right answer, that is Faraday's laws and Lenz's law. Now let's discuss what is Ampere's law. First let me wipe this. So let's discuss what is Ampere's law. Ampere's law is basically used to find the magnetic field intensity due to a conductor, due to a current carrying conductor, and it states that the line integral of magnetic field intensity, that is your H, along a closed path equal to the current enclosed by or passing through this path. Suppose let's consider there is a closed path like this, okay, and this is the direction of this path, and there are three conductor like this, and let this conductor carry a current I1, and let this conductor carry a current I3, and this carry conductor I2. Let assume this thing, okay. Ampere says that the line integral of H, that is your electric field intensity, along this closed path, okay, equal to the current enclosed by this path, so I enclosed, so which is implies that line integral of H along this curve, let this curve take this as C, okay, equal to I1 plus I2 minus I3. Here I take the sign of I1 and I2 as positive. Why? Now because they are in the same direction, and I3 as negative. Why? Now because the I3 is in opposite direction. So this is all about the Ampere's law, and this loop, this closed path is also called as Amperian loop. Okay, now let's see what is your Coulomb's law. Let me rub this. Now let's discuss what is Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law is a very basic and fundamental law from electrostatic. What is electrostatic? Means in electrostatic we are dealing with the charge at rest. So it states that the force, that is your Coulombic force, that is your electrostatic force between 2 point charge. Let's say there is 2 point charge plus Q1 and then second one is plus Q2. Suppose there are 2 point charge, okay. So the force between 2 point charge F is directly proportional to the product of their charge and also indirectly proportional to the square of distance of separation between them. Let small r is the distance of separation between them. So because of this 1 by r square, this law is also called as inverse square law. Now by combining these two by using an proportionality constant, let's say 1 by 4 pi epsilon into Q1 Q2 by r square. So this is the total expression for your Coulomb's law, that is your Coulomb's force or electrostatic force. And here epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space. Then the permittivity epsilon is given as epsilon r into epsilon 0, where epsilon r is the relative permittivity or dielectric constant. Okay, so this is all about your Coulomb's law. In this question we have been given with two ideally coupled coils of 2 Henry and 8 Henry inductance, and we need to find out the mutual inductance between them. So in order to answer this question, let me discuss the concept behind this question. So now let's discuss what is mutual inductance and self inductance and what is the relation between them. So what is self inductance? In my first lecture I told you that what is inductance. What is it? Inductance simply is the property of a coil or conductor by which it opposes any change in current or any change in flux. So here, as the name suggests, self-inductance, it is the opposition offered by the coil itself. Means if the change in current happen in that coil itself, then it opposes that changes. So this is self-inductance. Now what is mutual inductance? Mutual inductance is similarly the property of a coil by which it opposes a change in current in another neighboring coil which is placed nearer to it. Means in mutual inductance the two coils are placed in such a way that one's magnetic field has an influence on the other coil. So because of that there is a property between them, that is your mutual inductance. Now let me explain this concept by drawing the coil. Let there are two coil A, this is coil A, and this is another coil B which is placed nearer to it. Okay, and let's here small I is the current flowing through the coil A, and let we place a voltmeter. Okay, we place a voltmeter across the coil B. Now we know that when there is a current it produces flux in the coil. Let's say this is the flux. Okay, so this is flux and this is flux linkage, we can say, as there are number of turns. Okay, and some fluxes like that, and some fluxes also links the another coil. Okay, which is placed nearer to it. Means the coil B come under the influence of A's magnetic field. Okay, so here the flux produced by I, that is your, let I produces the flux phi 1, that is the working flux or main flux, that is your main flux of coil A. Now this phi 1 can be divided into two components, that is the phi 1 equal to phi 11 plus phi 12, where phi 11 is the leakage, you can say it is a leakage flux, that is the flux that links with only the A coil, that means this loop, and it doesn't link with that B coil, rather it is lost in the air itself. So we can call this flux as leakage flux. Now phi 12 is also called as mutual or linkage flux. Linkage flux, the flux that links with the coil, the B coil, which is placed nearer to it. So here the phi 12 represents mutual flux or the flux due to, that is flux due to one linking in 2, that is flux due to current in first coil and which is linking to the second coil. Okay, now let's consider here the current I is time varying. So because of this time varying current, the flux is also time varying and the flux linking is also time varying. So from Faraday law we know that when there is change in flux it induces EMF. So because of this phi 11 time varying, some EMF is induced in coil A itself, which is called as self induction. and when the change in flux induces an EMF in B coil, which is measured by this voltmeter, and this is because the mutual flux, that is your time varying, so this is called mutual induction. Now let's know the another term. Let me wipe this. Now there is a term associated in this, that is your K. So K, what is K? K is coefficient of coupling. Coefficient of coupling. Coefficient of coupling explain how well the two coils are coupled. It explain that this equal to your the linkage flux with respect to the total flux. Total flux is phi 1. Now for ideal couple, coupling, K equal to 1, that is there is no leakage flux, so phi 1 is 0. Now phi 1 by phi 1, so phi 1 becomes phi 1, so phi 1 by phi 1 equal to 1, but this is practically not possible. So this value of K is less than equal to 1, so the maximum value of K will be your 1. And suppose the coil A has a self inductance of L1 and let coil B has an self inductance of L2, then what is the relation between them? Here the mutual inductance between them M is given as K into square root of L1 and L2. So in this question we are asking about to find the mutual inductance given that there is ideal couple. So K is given as 1 and L1 is given as 2 and L2 is given as 8. So after calculation we got M equal to 4. So your option A is your right answer. In this question there is a magnetic circuit and it is applied with a current that changes at a rate of 5 ampere per second, and the inductance of this circuit is given as 2 Henry. Now we have to find out the self-induced EMF. So in Faraday law I told you that the induced EMF is given as E equal to minus N d phi by dt, which can also be expressed in term of rate of change of current. So that is your minus L di by dt. In this question di by dt is given as 5 ampere per second, that is your di by dt. So put this in this expression, we get this is 2 into 5 equal to minus 10 volt. So your option B is your right answer. In this question we have to find the H. What is H? H is your magnetic field intensity at the center of a circular coil of diameter 1 meter and carrying a current of 2 ampere. Now in my previous question I told you that the concept of Ampere's law, and here Ampere's law is basically used to find the magnetic field intensity. So now let's apply the Ampere's law here. Here given there is a circular coil and the circular coil is carrying, let's say, current I equal to your 2 ampere. Now here the radius of the coil, let's say rho, is given as 0.5 meter. Now from Ampere's law we know that the line integral of H over a closed curve C, let's say this one is C, okay, equal to the I enclosed. So here H we have to find H, and dl. What is dl? dl equals to rho d theta. As we know that L equals to r theta, r is rho and theta is the angle. So this is elemental angle and we have to integrate this. So total, this is a circle, so 0 to 2 pi is the limit, and here is the I enclosed. Let's say this is I, and from that we get h rho into, this is 2 pi equal to I. Now h equal to I by 2 pi rho. So put the values of current, that is it is given to, that is 2 pi into rho is your 0.5, it is given in the question. So by calculation we get 0.6366. So your option C is your right answer. In this question it is saying there is a coil which is wound with 50 turns and a current of 8 ampere produces a flux of 200 microweber. Now we have to calculate the inductance of the coil. Now we know that the flux linkage of the coil is given as N phi equal to L into I. From your previous discussion we got this thing, okay. Now here N is given as your 50 turn and flux is given as 200 micro, that's why 10 to the power minus 6 Weber, and we need to find the inductance, and here the current is given as 8 ampere. So L equal to 50 into 200 into 10 to the power 6 minus 6 divided by your 8. So cancelling this we get, this is 25, and 25 into 50 1250 into 10 to the power minus 6, that is your Henry, and this is your also equal to 1.25 millihenry. So your option C is your right answer. In this question there are two identical coils A and B of 100 tons each. So this is not ton, this is tons each, and lie in a parallel plane such that 80% of the flux produced, this is produced by one coil links with other. If a current of 5 ampere flowing in a coil produces a flux of 0.05 milliweber, then we need to find the flux linking with the coil B. So remember one thing, in exam in some question unnecessary data are given to put you in trouble. So be careful about that. In that case you should be very frank and very confident while dealing with such type of problem. Here we need to find out the flux linking with the coil B, and here it is given 80% of flux produced by one coil links with other coil. Now by using this statement we can calculate the flux that linking with the coil B, and which is equal to it is given that 80% of the flux is linked with the coil B, so that is 80% of the flux produced by the coil A. What is that? That is 0.05 milliweber. So that is linked with the coil B. So, and this is 0.8 into 0.05 milliweber, and which is equal to 0.04 milliweber. So option D is your right answer. In this question, and there is a bar of iron of cross section area 1 centimeter square and has 10 to the power minus 4 Weber of magnetic flux in it. If relative permeability is 2000, then what is the magnetic field intensity in the bar? Now in this question, A is given as 1 centimeter square. So in SI unit, that is in meter square, 10 to the power minus 2 meter square, and the flux phi is given as 10 to the power minus 4 Weber, and mu r is 2000, and we need to find out the H is how much, electric field intensity. We know that flux is given as by the formula B into A, that is the magnetic flux density, and area product of these two is your flux. So from that we can calculate B as flux by area, that is 10 to the power minus 4 divided by 10 to the power minus 4, that is your 1. So its unit is Tesla. Okay. Now we know that in the last lecture, magnetic flux density equal to mu into H, and what is here B is we calculated as 1, and what is mu? Mu is the permeability of any medium, that is mu r, that is relative, into permeability of free space, that is your mu naught, into H. Now H equal to 1 by mu r is how much? 2000 into, and this mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7. So from calculation we got that H equal to 397.8 ampere turn per meter, which is approximated to 398 ampere turn per meter. So your option B is your right answer. So this is all about today's lecture. In the next lecture we will start a fresh and new chapter, that is your circuit law from basic electrical. By this, let's wind up today's lecture. Thanks for watching everybody. See you in my next video. Till then, keep watching and keep learning. And one more thing, please subscribe to our channel and like the video. And if you have any doubt, then put your doubt in the comment section. Thank you.